Many of you know Robin Hood, the concept of Robin Hood, robbing rich and giving it to the poor. Okay, so now if I ask you taxing the rich, the other day we had a discussion in our GS class, right? Taxing the rich. Yes. So how many of you think Robin Hood is correct, but taxing the rich is not correct?
I think the other way around.
Robin Hood is wrong, but taxing the Robin Hood also used to rob the rich only, right?
But legally.
Legally. Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Is Robin Hood right in the first place? No? Robin Hood is not right in the first place? Okay. If governments do the same, is it right? Sure. Okay. So, one more scenario. You are a corrupt IAS officer, you took a lot of bribe. Yes. So, you are giving that money to a charity. You are a corrupt IAS officer, you are giving that money to the charity. So, is it a good act? See, if you remember any action we have discussed, right? Only actions are evaluated. That is what we have discussed. So, I have given money to a philanthropic organization because I have taken some amount of corruption. That money will be used for good purposes. So, can we consider it as a good action?
Depends on the student. Teleological.
Okay, but normally, per your sake, that is what I am saying, right? You won't write, Bentham said this in the exam hall, nor you say Kant said this. You don't write any of those things. You write my understanding of all those things is what. So, if you are that IAS officer, are you? See, we have discussed about X, right? X is called as moral agent, technicality. So, X is moral agent, right? So, here X is that IAS officer. He is taking that corruption money. So, he is doing some definite ethical, unethical act. But he is giving that money for philanthropic activities. So, if I have to judge X's action, if that is a case study in your exam hall, he is asking Rajini's opinion, Hare Krishna's opinion, Srinidhi's opinion, right? Like he is not asking what Gandhi will say, what Kant will say. He is asking what will you say, you. Here, X is being judged. X is the moral agent. Who is judging? Santosh is judging. Nihar is judging. Aditya is judging, right? So, you, what did you understand? What? Yes?
So going by our previous discussion, him taking corruption in the first place
Hmm.
is in itself a wrong thing.
That is definitely.
So we should be judging him on that. So the discretion of which he is.
Aren't you judging two different actions? Corruption and his donation.
But the source of donation is from the corruption, so
Hmm.
I think we can.
Okay, so okay, fine. Any other thought process? Yes.
So, for me, the means as well as ends are important. So, we cannot just independently judge his donation.
Okay, but see, when I say Robin Hood, we don't critically judge Robin Hood, right? I mean, not to the extent. We accept that Robin Hood is doing the wrong thing, but we say robbing the rich and giving it to the poor is one fine thing. So, at the end, what is my justification for Robin Hood if I have to justify him? That he is giving to the poor. So, here philanthropy is also doing the same thing, right? Giving to the poor only.
Yeah, but so much of his discretion is involved here. So if instead of him, he being a moral person, if someone less moral comes in his place, then he might not be same ethical. So,
But if he does the same thing, then we will judge him on his basis, right? Every him is based on his circumstances, situation, and timing.
again, him being an IAS officer is a representative of the institution. So
Okay.
if he does the same.
So, when we are talking about Robin Hood, he just robbing the rich. But when you are talking about corruption, you don't know like what what consequences we will have in future.
Okay. So, is Robin Hood or this particular IAS officer correct?
So
given that a civil servant is a public functionary,
Hmm.
you judge him, but then you don't judge this guy because he's not a public functionary, and then the institution's credibility is not taken hit.
Okay, fine. So all of you are more or less clearly establishing that a individual basis of judgment and a civil service basis of judgment, civil servant basis of judgment are different. We expect more from civil servants, not so much from a normal or ordinary citizen. But within that ordinary citizen also, don't we think that there will be layers of crime? Say for example, if Robin Hood robbed from the blind and gave it to the poor, okay, his guilt has increased many folds. But because Robin Hood has robbed the rich, so we literally link the rich with the guilty. Yes or no? If he is rich, he must have done something wrong. So it's totally fine. So that is how our justification comes into the picture. So in such cases, so when I give you a case study, the moral agent is you, right? Like you will be judged or you will be thinking. So you have to think on your own. So you may come to different concepts. But the more your knowledge, the better your analysis will be. Yes or no? For example, Friedrich Nietzsche is there. Nietzsche is a philosopher. So what does he say? We hate the rich, or we are afraid of the God because we are jealous of the rich. It's a karma theory, right? As Nietzsche's philosophy is all about brutally rational. He says we don't like the rich, we are jealous of the rich subconsciously, so we blame rich are guilty, rich are like this, rich are immoral, unethical. So if I say all those things to the rich, my present situation will be made more comfortable or satisfying. Yes or no? So God has nothing to do with it, it's purely our thought process. So Nietzsche is a one school of thought. So like this utilitarianism as Bentham or Kant or Gandhi or Mahabharata, you take so many examples. So what will happen? Over a period of time, your knowledge levels will increase. Yes, when your knowledge level increases, let's say X is a moral agent. Okay, this is his baseline. This is my today's knowledge. I am judging either it's a good decision or a bad decision, whether Robin Hood is right or wrong based on my existing knowledge. But if I learn moral theories or moral thinkers, what will happen? My understanding will increase. If I have even better ethical standards, my understandings will even be better. So if I have to judge Robin Hood, crime is crime no matter what, then Robin Hood is wrong. Yes or no? But for today I might have thought Robin Hood is good because he is doing something good. But as she mentioned, means and ends are equally important. If I bring Gandhi and thought process, Gandhi says means are equally important as ends, like so many other thinkers also, not only Gandhi. But if I take consequentialists, that means only the ends matter, consequences matter. Consequences is what? Robin Hood is doing something good, right? It's a very simple thought process. Now the problem with ethics is, are you able to see the things from layman perspective and civil servant perspective? That is where UPSC will change everything. If this is a typical philosophy class in any institute or any organization, not UPSC, what will I do? I will be discussing about moral agent and my personal choices. But here, who are you judging? You are judging civil servants or public service, right? Or for the society. Everything you do have multiple implications. So I cannot judge an IAS officer for his own actions, but also the post he is holding in, right? Are we clear so far? So normal person, if let's say Srinidhi is doing something, tomorrow if she becomes an IAS officer, what she does is judge in a whole new level, or how she should think is also a whole new level. For example, if I say Robin Hood is robbing, what is your opinion? Vishwanath will say it's a good thing sir, it's a okay thing sir, because he is robbing the rich. But tomorrow he will become an SP of the district, he cannot say the same thing. Yes or no? You with a designation, you without a designation are two things. Who is doing and what is his designation is also a different thing. Are we clear? See again, as I told you, once you understand the first chapter very nicely, once we enter into the case studies or other chapters, again all these things will come into the picture, right? Attitude will come into the picture, code of conduct will come into the picture, work culture will come into the picture. So layers will be added, so your knowledge will increase. Just imagine the 3 lines. You are here, see, sometimes these lines will overlap. You are as high as an ethical standard, sometimes you are below the moral standard. Your thinking may be clouded because you don't have all the knowledge. Clear?
Those actions which are done by that particular agent, like they are supported by the society, but objected by the government.
Then it's again it's basis, it's not a moral puzzle, right? It's illegal. Again, it's unethical in a sense. Say for example, public will always be happy of Robin Hoods. Okay, if you go to any slum, people will be happy of a Robin Hood. But if everybody turns out to be a Robin Hood, then that leads to a lot of problems. So you cannot take an isolated case and make it into a larger picture, right? That is why we are discussing about morality. Robin Hood is moral judgment, but when we discuss ethical judgment, the other day I was asking Sharath, if somebody robs a bread because his or her family is in poverty, some extraordinary circumstances are there. What are the issues? Every poor person, if he starts decided to go for the theft or robbing, then what will happen? The entire society's moral authority will come down and ethical standards will fall down. So ethics are like extreme standards. Always remember, ethics are like highest ideals. Okay, whereas morality is a personal choices which increases through knowledge. And coming to civil servant, okay, let's say one day you took a chocolate, you have a box of chocolates in your home. Okay, your father says daily 1 chocolate. You have to take only 1 chocolate per day, and it's an open bowl. What will you do? You take 1 chocolate one day, or next day you felt like having 2 chocolates. Your father found out and he said it's okay. Day after tomorrow you took again 2 chocolates. He started beating you. So you are confused. Yes or no? Why are you confused? There is no proper feedback mechanism. If I do a crime, or if I do something which is not supposed to be done for the first time, then it will be a feedback mechanism to me. Yes or no? So any civil servant, if he takes an action, okay, he has to be in these lines. It has to be consistent, right? For example, if you come in front of a judge, I have stolen something. The judge will say, okay, my mood is very good today, you go home. Are we setting an ethical standard? No, right? You understand, right? So see, morals or ethics are what? Standards or frameworks. So framework has to be consistent, predictable and relevant and reasonable, right? And based on principles. When there is no principle involved, or when there is no standardization involved, how do you judge any action? Traffic constable will stop you. You have jumped a signal. Okay, today it's my birthday today. Okay, go. Yes or no? Is that what standards are? Even if it's the birthday of the police officer, will also be like a happy mood. Okay, let go. Then what will happen? There is no consistency. There is chaos in the society. Yes, think about it. Anything in civil services is based on these basic ideologies. Like they have to be consistent. Why? As I told you, if there is a flood in your district, right, compensation. What should be the compensation? It should be the same that is calculated by your predecessor, calculated to the inflation or something like that. Yes or no? But 10% of whatever the damage has been done will be given as compensation. Some rationality. Yes, it's not based on any religion, caste, creed, or etc. All those things. It's a pure standardization. Any victim in my district will be getting the 10% compensation. If you willingly omit someone, see, commissions and omissions. Civil servants have 2 things. One is commission and omission. What is commission? I will do something deliberately. I will skip something deliberately. Both are wrong. Yes or no? So consistency has to be there in commissions and omissions. Again, I will tell you why I am discussing this, because I am trying to link it to the case studies soon. So basically understand, you have to be predictable. Predictable in the sense what? If I do this crime or this action, it will be considered as unethical, punishable. Today you must have seen newspapers. A flyover has collapsed in Delhi, right? So that has a potential to become a case study. Who's to blame? Engineers or the government officials, or what circumstances led to the collapse of the flyover? Yes, let's say a junior engineer has already noticed that there is a flaw in the pillar. He told the L&T company or some company or some engineer, but the engineer thought, if I replace this, it will take 15 days more and 2 crores extra. So when I informed the IAS officer, he said, 15 days delay is not acceptable. 15 days delay is not acceptable. That is an act of commission. He knows deliberately that that is a weak pillar, but he still wanted to go ahead. So now the entire system collapsed. The entire flyover collapsed. It will take 3 months. Who's to blame? Should we blame the IAS officer or the engineer? So you have to see things in the newspapers and apply this knowledge. That is where the difference between you and others will be there, right? So if you open any standard textbooks, you will find all these things. But the problem is, when you see that newspaper, did you actually think in these lines? It should be consistent. If it is, consistent decision, what? Loss of money or loss of life? I will always prefer loss of life. That is a consistent decision. 2 crores, 20 crores, what is the cost of human life? If 4 vans are driving on the same flyover, it collapsed, 40 people died, who's to blame? Right? So it has to be consistent, it has to be predictable. Wrong is wrong. Even if it takes money, even if it takes huge amount of things, it has to be done in the right way. Now again, here we have to think it from 2 things. Hari Krishna as an individual, Hari Krishna as an IAS officer, Hari Krishna as a CEO of the particular company. Yes or no? If I am the CEO of that particular company, I will not be happy. Why? It will lead to losses, it will lead to delay, it will lead to a lot of headaches. But if I go for ethical business standards, in the long run, my company's goodwill will be maintained. Yes or no? If I compromise for those 2 crores, okay, it led to what? Damage of reputation of the entire company, right? That's a goodwill loss, and that cannot be brought back with money. Yes. Now as an IAS officer, I have to understand that things don't go as planned. Yes or no? That is the job of an IAS. Things will never go as planned. You have to take spontaneous, instantaneous decisions. And if you go back and see the history of your district, probably no case came to you before that particular point. No flyover was delayed. You are the first IAS officer in the district who is going to face that particular decision. What will you base your decision on? That is where this knowledge comes into the picture, right? Human life is sacrosanct. Human life is everything, and welfare maximization is everything. Yes. So can we say, by delay, maximum number of people are suffering. Utilitarianism should be applied. If 2 people die, it's okay. It is a wrong application of utilitarian principle. Here the better ethical standard is life over money. How do you come to that decision? You created your own value system, right? You created your own value system. I will tell you a simple example. Let's say you are a district educational officer. You are a district educational officer. In your jurisdiction, there are 10 tribal hamlets. Okay, and you have appointed volunteers. Instead of government teachers, you have appointed volunteers to teach the students. Okay, volunteers are what? Like contractual labor, right? More or less, they are not vested in the success of the students. So after 3 months, you came to know that the volunteers are not going in time. Like if the classes is from 10, they are going by lunchtime. They are spending some time there and they are coming back, but they are taking the salaries. So what is your reaction? Like what is your first reaction? What do you think about it? Does the ethics apply here? Like do you need to judge the action of the X? X is here is what? The volunteers. Right? You heard that story, you are drinking a coffee, okay, then you moved on to next file, then there is no ethics case study. Why? You didn't in the first place think there is a there is something wrong in that scenario. Okay, your bosses told you to appoint 10 volunteers. You appointed 10 volunteers. They didn't tell you about, you know, they're working properly and all those things. So it's not your problem, right? Yes or no? So if that is your thought process, if that is your recognition, okay, if you don't take a medicine if you don't have the fever, right? Disease. So first of all, recognition or identification that there is a problem. What will happen? The tribal children are losing education, and that is loss of social capital. I am an IAS officer or whatever, I am an officer for what? Welfare maximization and doing good to the people. If that is not addressed, and if I am stuck in the red tapeism or the means, not the ends, then I am doing it wrong. Yes or no? I hope you understand. If 1 rupee is going out of the government pocket, that 1 rupee should maximize the utility. So you read something in the newspaper, okay, and you didn't feel like there is an ethical angle there. The problem is recognition or identification. You have seen that L&T, sorry, not L&T. You have seen that flyover collapse and 3 people died or suffered under the flyover. So who's to blame? If there is no ethical dimension involved, then you didn't recognize the problem. That is where application will come into the picture, right? Are you able to understand so far? Any doubts? Yes. So when a civil servant or anyone takes an action, okay, if these things are based on this, okay, then I can defend it's a good decision or a bad decision. See, there is no perfect decision. It's always an objective decision, right? In the given circumstances, in the given power, I took a decision and that is the best I can take. Yes, I cannot satisfy everyone involved. Yes or no? If tomorrow if I punish that particular company with 3 crore rupee fine, some other will come and say, you know, you should have punished with 30 crores. I cannot satisfy everyone, but I created a standard template as I was mentioning that if your flyover collapses under your watch, okay, that company has to pay this amount of minimum compensation. Minimum is this. That is standardization. So the other day your father was beating you for taking 2 chocolates. The other day, one day he was celebrating you. It's okay, beta, right? So is there any rationality behind his decision? Can I judge him based on his irrationality? If there is no underlying theory why he did what he did, I cannot judge that. Yes or no? Santosh found 10 rupees note of Ramakrishna on the ground. Okay. He didn't realize it was Ramakrishna's. Then, is it an ethical action? But at least he should pick it up and ask, right, who's 10 rupees? Yes or no? So there is some rationality. He wants to be honest and he is trying to be honest. Yes, in the same way, if something is done with underlying principle, either knowledge standard or norm, only those can be judged. Clear? Predictability, consistency, relevancy. Now, ethics case studies. How do you solve ethics case studies? The same things apply, but in a logical fashion. First of all, you need to recognize there is a problem. The biggest problem in any ethics case study is identifying the problem itself. You know, there are multiple moral standards involved in any ethics case study. Sometimes it's open and shut case, like yes or no, binary. Sometimes multiple moral values are involved. So if you don't understand all the moral values, then you are not identifying all the problems. Yes, the same volunteers case. So what is the problem in that volunteers case? First of all, I am not adhering to my own work culture if I don't believe that the volunteers have to work. Organization values have to be upheld, right? Government has appointed me as an education officer for what? To provide education or to make sure that education is provided to all the children in the area. So if I am not doing my own job properly, then I cannot blame anyone else. The moment I realize that there is a problem, the problem started with that particular identification. First me, then the application of duty by volunteers, right? Next, if the government is not paying salaries in time and because of that the volunteers are not having motivation, there is a problem there also. Yes or no? So now identification means it should be based on facts and objectivity. It should be purely based on facts. Are we clear? Not emotions. Again, I found some of them are women. Okay, I'm not angry on them. All this drama won't work, right? It has to be based on facts and objectivity. Next, I should not think only from my perspective. I should also think from other stakeholders' perspective. Here, the larger picture is what? Somebody going to the tribal hamlet, volunteering for 10 hours, but not teaching properly. That is also a problem, right? Here our problem is he is not going for the full time. If he is going for the full time but is not teaching properly, then that is also failure. Yes, so you have to think from the officer's perspective, volunteers perspective, the children perspective and the government perspective. I am giving salary. So unless and until I bring all the stakeholders that I can think of and the society at large, yes or no, then I am not identifying the problem properly. What will happen if those children don't study? Is it society's loss? Definitely, the social capital of the society is not good. They might get into crime or other problems. Then that is a problem for the greater society. So society, government, officer, stakeholders, children and their families, everybody is a stakeholder. Yes, so you need to identify the stakeholders. Then what? You need to start analysis, like analyzing things. Why is it happening? There are no roads. Yes, there is a teacher in Kerala. He used to swim 18 kilometers every day to go to that particular college. Yes, and he used to swim literally to go to that particular school. That is level of dedication. Yes or no? But if you are paying him every 3 months once that to 10,000 rupees, do you think he will swim? May or may not be, right? So your side also there is a problem. So what are the reasons why that particular people are not coming regularly? Because the parents of the children are not educated, so nobody is going to ask them. Yes, or didn't I put the right fear in the minds of the volunteers? Am I not checking up with them regularly? See, you have to think from multiple perspectives, right? Yes, then you think of alternative solutions or possible alternatives, like what can be done to rectify this particular scenario. Let's say I will give them GPS or biometric attendance. Yes or no? Will biometric attendance solve the problem? So the thing is, first thing that came to my mind is biometric attendance. Biometric means what? That person has to be present there physically. 9 AM he put it on, 5 PM when he again uses it, the day is ended. Only then he will get the salary. So biometric will make sure that at least he is going till the tribal hamlet. Yes? Now what are the consequences of introducing biometric? 9 AM he will go, he will sleep. Okay, evening he will wake up and he will put the thumb again. Yes or no? Or if the tribal hamlet is nearby his home, what will he do? He will go there, put the thumb, come back, do some other work, evening go and verify again. Is it solving? Yes? So there are two ways to look at it. Yes, it might solve. How? The positives. So anyhow I went till there. So what is the problem in staying till 5 PM? Honesty is promoted to integrity, right? Here honesty is being forced, not integrity, sorry. Honesty is being forced upon you by using that biometric. So tomorrow we will argue CCTV cameras. Again, I'm just prolonging the discussion, right? So today I introduced biometrics. I found out that you are using the thumb and going away. Then I will put CCTV cameras whether you are actually present in the class or not. But ultimate objective here is what? Education of the children is the ultimate goal, right? It's not about them being present or not. So CCTV cameras without mic. So we don't know whether they are singing or he's telling, or CCTV camera is looking, so all of you act like you are studying. I don't know. So ultimately that is not going to solve the problem. Yes, there can be n number of things. So only when I think of every possible alternatives and their consequences, pros and cons. Possibility A, pros and cons. Okay, so when in the possible, one of the possible actions or one of the solutions is what? Bring them all to my office, talk to them. That is the first and simplest, most effective thing that I can do. Then all of them collectively said, sir, because of transportation, we are not going to go. Yes, the simplest solution is arrange a transportation or look for some solution. I assumed that they are not going because of something else, and I implemented the biometric. It is never going to work. Yes, so that is how you come to a conclusion. And at the end, what will you do? You will take an action based on these possible alternatives and their consequences. So you can take point A from consequence 1, point B from consequence 2. So I can say I will definitely increase your budget by providing you a transportation vehicle, but at the same time I am going to implement biometrics. Yes or no? So when I am going to increase my cost, I am also making sure that my accountability is there. Only then the solution is arrived or achieved. Apart from this, I can go a step ahead. I can tell the students of that particular schools that every week you can update me. I will give them their WhatsApp number or something, then I will tell you can update me on the quality as well. Then probably system will change in a better way. So these are not superhuman things, right? All these things are in my capacity probably. Yes. If I say I will send 2 more people to observe you, then it is a burden that is unnecessary. CCTV cameras is unnecessary. If in a remote hamlet, if there is no transportation, how will Wi-Fi system will work and I will get the feedback? Are we clear? So the biggest problem in any civil servant's issue is recognition or identification. Most of the times we are not sensitive enough, or we don't have the knowledge enough to even understand there is a moral issue involved. We are so busy being busy, the red tapeism or the rules and regulations, that we forget the ultimate objective is welfare maximization. We get hung up in the rules and regulations. Government told me to appoint 10 volunteers, I have appointed 10 volunteers. I don't want to hear anything about it. Yes or no? For example, you are an income tax commissioner. Your superior officer is, putting a lot of pressure on you. So what will you do? You go to your subordinates and say, I want 100 crore collection this year or this month. Okay, I need 100 crores taxation. I need to get 100 crores. Your subordinate will say, sir, due to lockdown, COVID, all the shops are closed. I don't want to hear anything. I want 100 crores. Then what will you do? Yes or no? You will be worried about your superior bothering you rather than welfare maximization, right? If some RTA reply is there, how many volunteers are applied? Sorry, how many volunteers are appointed? You will try to prove that all the 10 people are working there. Nobody is bothered about the outcomes. The greater good is last. Here we are focused about the rules and regulations. Are we clear? 2 things, please remember, ethics are not ethics puzzles. It's fun to discuss ethics puzzles, like what the trolley problem, yes, or that the example of will you lie even if you know that you are going to die, and all these things are ethics puzzles, right? Puzzles are good fun, but in reality you will never live in a puzzle. First of all, you don't have a choice. Yes or no? If the education minister says appoint 500 volunteers overnight, you appointed 500 volunteers. Yes, sir, they should be qualified. We don't find qualified people. They are not motivated enough. All these things you won't discuss with the minister, right? Perhaps he will never understand also. Yes, so what will you do? You issue a notification, 500 volunteers needed, or have you qualified this, okay, you are done, appointed. So at the end, within your limited capacity, you are going to find an objective solution rather than a satisfying solution. Are we clear? Any questions?
So the goal is welfare. Then taking back to the first question that you said, where take money and then spend it on the welfare. some sort of activity. So how is that wrong then? Because ultimate goal is welfare and not adhering to.
Their Robin Hood is not, as someone said, is public servant, right? If you are a public servant, the goal is welfare maximization. Corruption, as she pointed out, probably corruption means robbing the taxpayer money. You're robbing the poor and giving it to one more poor. It doesn't make any sense. You know, you have to think in that sense also, right? So, taxing the uber rich, like billionaires, like if I take 30 crore more from Ambani, probably he will never notice. Okay, but if I take 30,000 or 60,000 from a middle class family, they will actually feel that pinch. They will think, you know, I could have purchased a TV, I could have purchased a bike. They always calculate in that sense. So if I am robbing you of that 60,000 and I am again giving it to a philanthropic organization, they are also robbing. You don't know, right? And again, the direct good has to be measured. Are we clear? Yes, again think of this. You know, you can be a moral agent. That means the person who is facing that consequence or judging that particular scenario. Your knowledge will be on a different levels. Knowledge will increase your standards. Yes. Now,
In the first, when we are going about consistency, should we see about how the situations have prevailed action which made him the person to also commit such an action?
here this applies. These two sections more or less apply to civil servants, not for day-to-day life. Yes or no? See, I can go easy on someone, right? I can be very harsh on someone. I don't have to be consistent. For example, you know, if I rob a store for my own family, probably I will justify myself. If I caught someone else, I need not be consistent. Yes, but for civil servant, even if your own father is caught in corruption, you have to be consistent. Yes or no? There is no degrees of inconsistency, be it your family member or a total stranger. Laws are laws. You have to be upheld. Yes or no? As I told, Vishwanath is an SP tomorrow, so he caught someone robbing the rich. So he will say the robber will provide him a white paper. See, this person is corrupt. He has done this corruption, like the Tagore movie. Yes or no? On specific date, 9 PM, you took 10 lakh rupees. So I have all the details, sir. No, it doesn't matter, right? Anti-Corruption Bureau, you have to submit. Again, you don't ask him to approach, right? But you can submit. But the thing is wrong under all circumstances. Situations does not change. If you remember the three things, that object, I told you, right? Purpose, intention. Okay, I will tell you again, don't worry. Let's say, how do I judge a particular person's action? We will discuss what is double effect in a while. Before that, I want to recap that particular thought process. Object of an action. I told you three things, right? Voluntariness, free will. Yes, and the same side, in the sidelines I told you, object of an action, circumstance and purpose. Yes, so simply recapping, what is object of an action? Knowledge, right? Knowing that I am doing something is everything. Essence is important. What is object? Essence. So let's say you are walking on a road. Is it a wrong thing? Should it be an ethical judgment? Should there be an ethical judgment if I am lifting this phone and I am putting it down? Is there an ethical judgment involved there? Should there be? No. Why? It doesn't have any consequences, it doesn't have any implication, and it is not done with some purpose. I can lift, so I have lifted it. So again I am putting it down. There is no ethical judgment involved. So is talking. So is walking. Yes or no? But if I am walking behind a girl in order to scare her or follow her, the indifferent action became a bad action. Yes or no? What changed? Essence. The object has changed. When the essence changes, everything will change. Yes, if I lift this phone to throw at Santosh, the essence of the lifting the phone has changed. So any action can be good, bad and indifferent. Yes or no? Any action can be good, bad and indifferent. Indifferent means it doesn't have any implications whatsoever, no consequences. I am talking to myself. Yes, is there anything wrong? No, right? But my essence is so that everybody in the class will hear that I am abusing them. The essence, the intention has changed everything, right? If I say Santosh, you say goodbye, Santosh, you say goodbye. Like if I Santosh, okay, yes. So if I say that with a essence, that objective, yes or no? Walking, lying. Let's take the example of lying. Lying is a wrong thing, right? It's a bad thing. But you are lying with good intention. It becomes not good, but less bad. Yes or no? It becomes less bad. That is how we treat.
How we judge our
we will get into that. Okay. So the first one is object, right? All of you understood the object, right? Essence, intention, and here remember golden rule plus in the maths the formulas, right? Plus and plus is plus no matter what. In the same way, bad intention, good outcomes, still bad. Anything you do with a bad intention is bad. Okay, I will tell you a simple example, that IAS officer giving that money to the philanthropic organization. Why is he giving? He want to reduce his guilt. Yes or no? Here the object is what? I am giving that money to a charity organization. But why am I giving? What is my intention? My intention is
just of
to
the
guilt free, like to reduce the burden. To reduce the burden, if I am giving the money, then outcomes might be good. Some people will get educated or someone will get the food, but still the essence is wrong is wrong. I hope you understand. Yes. Now, if the intention is good in the object only, in the essence bad, right? We have discussed bad. Any bad is bad. Nothing is going to change that. You are a serial killer. Okay, you are walking on the road. Suddenly you killed someone. Tomorrow you found out he is a fellow serial killer. Yes or no? Dexter movie, right? Okay, Dexter series. Okay, the thing is, it is not going to make it a right thing, right? Bad is bad, no matter what. Okay, you try to do something good and something bad happened. Okay, your intention was good. So the degrees of judgment will vary based on the intention. Robin Hood. Yes or no? Robin Hood did not rob with the intention of robbing. He started robbing for helping the poor. So his intention matters here. So I am not saying his wrong is not wrong. It's only less wrong. Less moral authority is applied here. Okay, and just walking on the road is indifferent action. It will again change the circumstances. Are we clear?
it is less wrong or more wrong.
Wrong is wrong.
Yeah. So the punishment awarded also.
Again, that is where the other day, if you see, you remember that case study where a judge ordered that community service in the Gurudwara. Yes. So why did the judge order community service in Gurudwara?
It was his
First time, and he was in total emotional intense. So his intention was to not murder someone. His intention was to show off his anger in a negative purpose, right? So his intention was not bad, and at the same time it's not good. It was indifferent. So the circumstance and his past made the judge apply a new standard. Yes or no? I took a phone and I started throwing at someone. I didn't intend to throw at Santosh. I wanted to throw in this direction and it hit some of you. Right? Then my indifferent action led to some bad thing. So purpose and circumstances will matter. Simply remember the golden rule. Any bad is bad. Good or indifferent actions are judged on the purpose and circumstances. Yes?
Sir, when we are discussing about that the murder happened and the judge ordered service in Gurudwara. So how do we judge the second case where the son slapped the mother and she died? So
Again, here the intention is bad. My intention is to harm someone. I didn't know the level of intention, right? The entire reason is what? slapping someone is what? Hurting someone. The intention is bad. I know that. Yes. So again, the same applies to the knife case also. I know that knife, but here the quantum is essence. So both are punished, right? Both are not. Again, that is what I am saying. It depends on the circumstances and situations. The other person is alive. Here the mother is dead. So I can take that into consideration and give the same amount of punishment. Are we clear?
Sir, even today there is news saying pregnant women or boys need to walk for 3 kilometers.
3 kilometers again, yes. So again we will discuss them, right? So you get the macro picture, right? Circumstance. Any bad is bad, any good or indifferent action is dependent or judged on circumstances and situations. Next is, again the same applies. Circumstances, as I told you, robbing is wrong. Yes, robbing is wrong. Any bad is bad. But if I am robbing from rich people, the levels are decreased or the moral authority changes. But if I am robbing from widows or senior citizens, my crime is considered as even more wrong. Yes. So again the same 3 layers applies: good, bad and indifferent actions. Circumstances will change everything. And lastly, purpose. Again we will come to double effect. This is not double effect. Whatever we are discussing is not double effect, by the way. So next, what is intention we have discussed, circumstance we have discussed, and the last one is purpose, right? Obviously it's purpose. Why am I doing what I am doing? So in the purpose example, you can throw in that IAS officer example, right? Good things done for bad reasons are also bad. Yes. So object, intention and purpose. These 3 things can be used to judge a particular action. Clear? Now simply put, what is double effect? As the name says, any action will have good or bad consequences. Outcomes will be manifold. So I have purchased an alcohol bottle. Okay, I have thrown it on the street. I have purchased an alcohol bottle as a social experiment again. Okay, right? So as a social experiment, and I have thrown it on the street. So someone picked it up, he drank fully, went home and started beating his wife, or he killed her. Am I to be blamed? Am I to be blamed, Yashashwini? No?
Why were you even doing that
Because it's social experiment, right? So I wanted to do like what will happen.
The action should be
Sorry?
coming from the Ghanaian perspective.
Like DPSP, alcohol should not be sold. So government's fault. Okay. So yes.
When you were doing that experiment, you would have thought of all the possibilities. You might have gone through a scenario where a bad person would
I anticipated a dog drinking it. Okay. Or people accidentally breaking it. With my limited rationality, I couldn't see all the possibilities. Then
maybe it's less wrong.
less wrong. Wrong. Okay.
So when you're doing the social experiment, like you of course follow that person, like what he or like what that person is doing.
I lost him in the traffic.
So you had no cognizance that this action will happen. Then I don't think it's your fault.
Okay. Anyone else? Am I to be blamed?
So we need to see all the possibilities in the like we cannot do a social experiment just in a way that to enrollment who is able to public. So we need to understand circumstances.
Yes, Deepti?
Not taking into consideration all the stakeholders, all the possibilities around the next.
So, am I morally liable for her death? Legally, I am not, because nobody can prove it probably. But am I morally and ethically liable for her death?
No.
Yes. Chakri? Yes. So okay, yes. How many people think yes? Yes. No. Dicey.
Doesn't it depend on how you throw it? Whether you threw it just on the road or you gave it to a proper collection center.
Mhm.
If your initial action was legal, then I don't think you're not.
So all laws are not ethical. That is what we have established in the first class, right? All laws are not ethical. So here I am legally definitely not responsible. Okay, but am I morally and ethically responsible? Definitely yes. It doesn't matter whether I have thrown it or gave it to his hand. Okay, I know that alcohol will make people imperfect in certain circumstances. So anything done wrongly or indirectly is a wrong thing. For example, your friend wants to do a crime. Okay, you have given him lot of DVD movies, like movies list. Okay, watch these movies, these are good for the crime. Okay, how not to get caught by the police. Okay, so are you morally wrong? 110%, right? Anything done directly, indirectly to persuade, to give knowledge, or to influence, or not to influence. You could have positively influenced him. What are you thinking? You are a educated person. All these things are morally or ethically liable, your liability also. Okay, the police may not come and arrest you. Okay, sir, I gave DVD, he watched, not my fault, right? Okay, but morally, why did you give it to him? You only encouraged him indirectly, right? You didn't explicitly say, please go and rob. Yes, or you didn't have an agreement, 10% share is mine. Yes, so any consequence, directly or indirectly, when done in a deliberate fashion, is also your ethical obligation.
But again, coming back to the same example, I like those movies, so I wanted to share with one of my friends.
After he told you that he wants to rob a store,
I mean, if I do not know his
then
intent-
you are not liable. Knowledge is not there, right?
And coming back to the alcohol example again, I kept the alcohol bottle there. I do not know whether some person will come and then I do not know the intention.
But it's a 50-50 dicey scenario.
Exactly.
You know that he might drink. See, for example, a Uber driver has drank. Okay, and he killed someone. So morally, so again, I'm not saying legally you are binding, right? You are ethically, you are obligated, because you are careless with something. Say, for example, remove alcohol bottle and take a gun. You put a gun on the street or someone. Okay. Are you that innocent to believe that somebody won't try something stupid? Or will it land up in police station? 50-50 scenario. Something might die. Is it a real gun? Acha. Okay, somebody shot himself. Okay, because you don't find guns on the road, right? Anything can happen. So see, the thing is, again, see here, okay, you get the basic understanding, right? You are responsible for your consequences. Most of the times, you know what you are trying to do, right? And if there is no knowledge, your friend never told you, but he asked you, what are the good, thriller movies? You gave away a list, no issues. He didn't tell you that he want to rob a store. Then you are not ethically, morally, or legally liable, because knowledge is not present. But he explicitly told you, Kalyan Jewellers is a good shop to rob, right? Then you connected the dots. 2 + 2 is 4. Then still you didn't do anything. Then you are morally responsible. In the same way, there is a pregnant lady. All of you are doctors for 10 minutes. Okay. All of you are doctors for a 10 minute. A patient came with the last minute emergency, that like the pregnant lady here, right? In the newspaper. Okay. So okay. So yes. So what happens? You realize that only the child or the mother can be saved. You have to take a decision. So it's a double effect, right? There is good and bad. You can either save the mother or kill the child. So whom will you save? So why is it called as double effect? First of all, three conditions have to be met. The three, if you summarize all these three things, like all these lines, the summary is these three conditions. First one is your essence or intention should be good. Yes or no? Your intention should be good. So the doctor is trying to save the life of someone, if possible both, right? So that is intention. So essence or intention should be good, and you should see all the consequences upfront, or most of the consequences upfront. So if you are going to operate on that particular pregnant lady, you know that the mother might be saved, the child might be killed, or the child might be saved, mother might be dead, or both can be saved. You are seeing all the consequences, right? So the first criteria, if you club all these things, you can create a first criteria, that is essence or intention should be good, and the reason should be known upfront, right? You know what you are getting into. Okay, next, the next one is the effect should be direct or immediate. That means if I am saving someone, it should be immediate, right? If I am saving the child and 2 months down the line the mother is also saved or something like that, then that is not true. So the result should be immediate. Yes, we know either the mother will be saved or child will be saved. The intention is immediate, and the good outweighs the bad. Good outweighs the bad, and also good should be independent of the bad. Good should be independent of the bad. That means if there is no, if the bad consequence is there, okay, that is why good came. Yes, it should not be considered. Okay, yes.
I did not understand the last part.
So good should outweigh the bad. Yes, you are saving a life of the mother over the life of the child. Okay, so here again we are putting two weights to a different life, but theoretically speaking, mother is important. Probably she will give birth to future, one more kid or something. So that at least she is happy, right? And good should be independent of the bad. That means here she is not surviving only because of the bad. Yes or no? I mean, the child has passed away, but still she is independent. Like her good came out of her ownness. Like her survival is not linked to the survival of the kid in the scenario, right? Even if I remove the bad consequences, that is the child being killed in the operation, she is still surviving. Yes, only when bad exists, if she exists. Like for example, have you seen that movie, the Last Night or something, that Vin Diesel's movie, Sorceress? What is that movie? I forgot the name of the movie. The Last Witch Hunter, something like that. So in his heart, the evil is being planted. So as long as the evil survives, he will also be alive, right? He is immortal because there is evil inside his heart. No, not the Bloodshot. Bloodshot is about the nanotechnology, right? Okay, so you understand, right? Here the consequences is only when the child is inside the mother she will survive. Okay, forever she cannot bear that weight, right? So some obligation or some link is there to bad, then it is not good. So only when she can survive on her own, when good is independent of the bad, good consequence is independent of the bad consequence, then only it is a double effect. You take one more example, that philanthropy example. Yes or no? So is it having a double effect?
Good to the end, but bad to the means.
But it will fail the first test, right? The very intention why you are donating is not good. You are giving to get rid of your guilt, right? So the first rule itself you have failed. So there is no double effect. See, again it's for simple understanding. Remember, every consequences or sometimes actions will have good and bad effects. So if you have to take a decision, the first criteria is intention or essence should be good. Next is you should know most of the consequences, and the third one is good will outweigh the bad.
So essence, does it ignore legality? Like being legal,
Again, yeah, technical, right? So, can we judge on this?
Intention was good,
Will it pass the last test? Can the good that came out survive without the bad also? For example, classified information is leaked. Some agents working undercover were also exposed. Okay, can it survive without the bad? Whistleblowing will have a lot of implications, right? So good and bad are probably interlinked. Here good is not independent of the bad, and good outweighs the bad. Okay, that criteria can be met, but good independent of the bad may not survive. So double effect will not come into the picture. Are we clear?
Again, these are the criteria of double effect, right? I do not understand what double effect is.
Double effect is any decision you take will have good and bad outcomes. Sometimes both outcomes will be there, right? So when double effect, double the outcome. So a good also came, a bad also came. So when you have leaked the details of your organization, right? Lot of public society or lot of society has been saved. At the same time, your company collapsed. There are two consequences, right? You are working in a environmental related organization or a tannery, right, or an industry. You are leaking lot of toxic gases or toxic water into the drainage. So you have blown a whistle. When you came out in the public saying, my industry is leaking lot of toxic gases. So your intention was good to save the larger society. Good definitely outweighs the bad. You also know your company will be shut down and thousands of people will lose their employment, right? But is good independent of bad?
mostly it cannot be. Like in many situations, good cannot be.
That is why good has to still survive without the bad. That is a very thin distinction, right?
Then in most of the cases, double effect
Doesn't apply. That is what I am saying. That is where, you see, again, these are all ethical puzzles, right? So most of the times puzzles are good to discuss, but in real life it's not the case. Any person with common sense will say, if the mother or child has to be saved, save the mother most preferably. Yes or no? Because she has a life, she has a family members, everybody attached to her. The kid who is coming will have to yet to develop all these things. Yes or no? So that is not ethical puzzle. It's a clear cut discussion for me. It's black or white. Yes or no? I mean, anybody will say try to save both. First of all, try to save both. Only in extraordinary circumstances, when it is not possible, save the mother preferably. Yes, and again, if you say the child is a boy, if you bring in all these patriarchal notions, then there is no good or bad, right? It's idiotic. Are we clear? Yes, I think we can end the discussion here today. I hope you understand. See, again, these are all very easy and theoretical. You can find them in any standard textbook, but that is not my intention. The intention is for you to start seeing them in the newspapers. See, you might see a question with your existing knowledge. You can try to think what are the consequences, who is to blame, is there any ethics case study involved here. First of all, identification. So if all you remember in today's class is this, is also fine. Yes or no? You have to recognize a problem, analyze a problem, find alternative solutions, find consequences of those problems. There might be double effects, right? Then you have to take a action. All these things will happen subconsciously. Yes. So when you start writing answers, it's not that easy. See, first class we have discussed social norms, society, ethics, so many things, right? Religion. This class we are not repeating their names, but they are still present here. They will never go away. Any decision I take will still have the implications of all those things subconsciously. Yes or no? Determinants of ethics. And I also have to remember the consequences of the ethics. What are the consequences? Good is coming, bad is coming, what is the criteria, what is the situation, what is the circumstance. Yes. And most of the time, as a civil servant, law will be the binding factor on you. Yes, morally you know that that person has to be left, but as an SP you still have to arrest him. Yes, you cannot say, you know, sir, he has shown me all the corruption papers, so morally let him go. Government will also let you go. Yes or no? It will suspend you. So you cannot do such movie style activities. In real life, you will share. Right? Okay. I mean, you will share the data with the government. So, yeah.
Probably on a moral ground, you can always try to give lesser punishment. Like after arresting, you can try on a humanitarian basis that, like,
The discretion ends with arrest, right? The moment you arrested, even the judge won't consider. Robbing is robbing. Like, probably the judge might take all this, as you said, moral considerations. If there is a lot of public pressure and all those things. Yes.
Say if any action passes the double effect, then it's
Again, double effect is just to understand that consequences will have ramifications, positives and negatives. So, yeah, whatever passes double effect is more ethical in consideration in general, right? See, again, double effect can be used in these extra smart people, like I'm giving 10% to God, corruption. So you can say your action is not ethical because these are the criteria. First of all, your intention itself is wrong. Everything failed there only. So most tests don't pass even the intention part. Clear? Yes. So if possible, tomorrow read and come that determinants of, not determinants of ethics. There is a chapter in DK Balaji, right? Normative ethics. All those things. Just read that particular chapter, right? So okay, then see you tomorrow.